Yeah, what do you know about Carrington?
Well, I didn't go to Carrington until I went on the bus trip.
Oh, okay.
That's where I shacked up.
What unit went over and helped out the paratroopers?
Combat Command A of 2nd Armored Division.
So where were you when they did that?
I was a part of Combat B, remained for our positions for backing up an infantry outfit at that time.
Okay.
But that's the way it goes. These things that you believe couldn't happen, you better be prepared for them too, because they do happen.
Yeah.
Another clean one?
Well, would you briefly tell me again the guys that you just captured? You don't have to tell me the whole story, but I just want to document it.
The ornamentals?
Yeah.
You mean the ornamentals or a man?
The ornamentals.
Oh, it was a very simple thing. Drove up there and was looking up the road and down this way ahead. Looked right down there and there they were. Beside the car practically, dug in, you know. And the two Germans were on the machine gun pointing the same way we drove up behind them.
And how many Orientals were there? How many Orientals?
Only three. Only three.
Were you surprised to see them?
That's the only three I ever met or saw. And they was just smiling, great big smiles. You'd have thought, man alive, someone was giving them 50 cents to get a cup of coffee. But they just stood up, no arms or anything, and I called the scout section, send a couple men up there. We had 3 prisoners, and no shots had been fired or anything. So they sent Shook and on one of the assistants, and they came up and they relieved us, all 5 of them.
So when you radioed to down that you captured them, what did you guys say?
Lord, I don't really know. I know it wasn't offensive, but it wasn't very knowledgeable unless you knew everything else was going on. And we had heard that they was there. We didn't have any idea where or how many, but we had heard, grapevine, not from the officers, that we may run into some replacements in the German army. If we did, capture them if you could.
But you, instead of calling them Oriental, you called them ornamental?
Yeah, that's what we call ornamental.
Just as a joke, yeah.
Yeah. That's taking advantage of the language.
Yeah.
But Sergeant shook him up. He didn't believe it. Someone back in the back had sent him up. I have no idea, one of the officers. But man, another man, and he just didn't believe it. He got up there and he looked up at the turret. He says, "What else are you going to dig up?" Or words to that effect. What else is going to come up next? You know,
yeah.
Comments you make at times like that. And as I remember, something to the effect that, how many more of these kind of deals we going to get involved in? Well, we got involved lots of them, but there weren't ornamentals. We got several units of German troops, or I mean foreign troops, let's put it that way, in the units with enough Germans in it to control them. That's basically what they run into. You'd run into a bunch of Russians, Czechs, Polish, just anything. Now, they weren't complete units of them, just fleshed out enough that the Germans could manage them. And if they got a chance to surrender, buddy, they took it. I never saw one yet turn around and run the other way. He put his hands on your head and come right on down. He'd had enough war. Now this phase of it didn't only take prisoners like that. That would be of not very loyal, but we took prisoners that were ready to surrender, and they may be a squad, it may be a company. That sounds a lot. Now their companies had been whittled down by us, the Air Force and artillery and everything else, till they didn't have much more than a good squad instead of a company. But when you saw them coming with no helmet on, no firearms in there, and most of the time they had their hands on that little old gray cap they wore. And most of them had terror, or, well, they just get on the road and come down till they met one of us. We wasn't up all that close to them. Usually it consisted of an officer and enlisted men. And he brought them in there in military order. Now when I say there, it could be anywhere, along the road, in a roadblock, wherever it happened. But they were under his control, and they paid attention to him. He marched right up there to you, come to attention, called his men to attention, and a lot of them spoke English. And most of the time, there's someone in that bunch could speak English. And we had 2 men in the outfit, in the platoon I was in, that spoke German. And if there's anything passed that didn't pass inspection, Krieger or Imo knew what to do. They'd warn the rest of us, and it could be anything. This is a setup, you know what I mean? Watch out, they're going to make a break for it. I don't know German, so I couldn't tell them. But when I'm old or Krieger 1 said something, you better move.
Thank you.
Making history here.
That's right.